In this video, I wanted to put this film stock through its paces and figured an international racing event full of some insane cars would be a great opportunity. So we are going to be shooting some Cinestill 400D during the afternoon and then moving over to some 800T later on in the night at the drift event. Once walking into the event, the first car I saw was this 1985 Porsche 911, which turned out okay for some nice warm-up shots. And this was sitting next to this 1985 Nissan B120 with these two massive NOS bottles in the back, because I guess what else do you put in the back of a ute? And that brings us to one of my favorites of the day, the troll boat. The loudest car out of all of these was this Nissan R32. So there was a bit of commotion when I was trying to photograph this hot rod. Apparently one of these guys got DQ'd because they were on their phone while operating their car. And look, that's fair enough in my opinion. I don't trust someone driving a Toyota Prius holding their phone, let alone a car that's built for this kind of thing. This hot rod was built for drifting as well, which is kind of insane. But while these guys were having a nice calm conversation, I was a bit more interested in this 1971 240Z, which apparently is running an engine out of an R35. So it's pretty cool to see the different generations of Nissan combined into a drift car. If you haven't noticed, the weird, unique cars tend to be the ones I shoot at these kind of events, and this is no exception. Dubbed the Alferrari, this Alfa Romeo 105 is a thing of beauty. It took the man who built it, Jeff, 4 years to complete, and is running an engine out of a Ferrari 360. He does have his own YouTube channel, which I've linked to down below if you'd like to check out the process of the entire build or any of his other videos. Preferably, I like to use longer lenses when shooting cars, and every photo up until this shot here of this Honda NSX was shot with my 90mm, but these next few shots I was using my 250mm. Finding the 6x7 to 35mm equivalent is probably one of the easiest conversions you'll find, as you just have to halve the focal length of your 6x7 glass, meaning my 90mm would be a 45mm and my 250mm would be a 125. Having to be so far back from my subject and the space limitations at these kind of events, I normally just tend to use my 90. I think my friend Nathan, who helped me shoot this video, liked the artwork in this engine bay a little bit too much. But you can see here just how far back I have to be to get a tight front end shot of this RX-7, so not very practical for this kind of situation. This is the Rodin Centura, originally a GT1 race car from the 90s. This thing was going up against McLaren F1s at the time. It ended up winning a race in the British GT Championship in Silverstone on its third appearance, but only stayed in for one season due to the regulation changes. It's a 4-litre with a naturally aspirated V10 engine. This thing looks incredible, and this was the 25th anniversary of the car, so that's a big reason why they wanted to debut the rework of this vehicle at this event. After the sun went down, we caught the last part of the time attack event. And for this, I swapped over to my Canon EOS 500N with a 135mm loaded up with some Cinestill 800T, which I ended up pushing to 1600 ISO. For some of these shots, I wanted to try out this panning technique. I believe I was shooting at a 30th of a second, panning with the cars as they went past. A lot of these attempts didn't work out, as you can see here, and you kind of have to expect that going in with this technique. But for the ones that came out, I actually really like them, and it's a good way to get some variety in some of the photos. One of the funniest parts of the drift event was this Nissan Patrol drift car, built and driven by Luke Fink. This is a Nissan 370Z base with a Patrol body on top. I actually met him a few years ago on a music video shoot for my friend Brandon, which I was doing some BTS photos for. This was shot by Jacob Peterson, and I got some shots of his 370Z on that shoot as well. So if this is the same 370, this is what it looked like before he turned it into a Patrol. I've linked all these guys' socials below if you wanted to check them out. On the drive back from Sydney to Brisbane, we ended up stopping at this old service centre, which I'm not even sure is still functioning, but was a good subject to finish off the last roll in my camera. But anyway, to wrap this video up, I am pretty happy with how 400D performs as a film stock. The look you get, I am a fan of, and it's definitely unique compared to its competitors. I am planning to go back to World Time Attack this year and shoot some other events, as well as a whole section of cars on display, which I ran out of time shooting this time around. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.